Hello, I'm going to try to show you a couple of videos here on the 486 machine I showed you earlier running Riven. So we're going to try a few things with it, and we're going to start from the beginning and show those of you who have never seen before how an operating system is installed. Now I'm going to stick Windows 95 onto the machine simply because unlike the likes of Windows 3.1 and DOS and that, you can actually do something with Windows 95, have a bit of fun with it, go on the internet, see how slow it is, and run a few games and that. If you want to set up a DOS machine, I'm sure there's plenty of other videos here showing how to do that. We will be using DOS for some of this video. We'll show you how to use the fixed disk commands, which are very handy if you have a brand new hard drive and are starting off from the beginning. Now, one word of note, Windows 95 will accept the larger hard drives. You can also put FAT32 onto Windows 95, providing you have version C. If you have version A or B, A may not read it, B will read it, but you won't be able to format it within Windows 95 version B. You have to format it in, for example, Windows version C. Or you could also format it in Windows 98 and then basically migrate it back to the previous version. Now, one of the other things is the hard drive itself that we're going to use today is a 504 megabyte hard drive. It's originally a 580 meg, but due to formatting constraints and that, it's going to reduce it down. So we're going to start off with basically a fresh hard drive that hasn't been used before. So we start off by formatting that hard drive and getting it ready to run in Windows. So the first thing you have to do, of course, is get the actual operating system to read the hard drive and see what's going on. So a lot of times in hard drives, what you can do is you can actually set it up automatically. Now, as I mentioned before, on some operating systems it'll ask you, some BIOS programs, it'll ask you to set up the cylinders, the heads, the pre-composition landing zone, the sectors and so on, right? Now what I've done here, as you can probably see in here, is I was earlier on trying to just set up for this video to make sure everything was working okay. So that's another hard drive. So I'm just going to see what it senses. Right, there we are, sensing the hard drive. It's an 8 GB hard drive. It's actually reading it as an 8 GB hard drive for some bizarre reason, which it isn't. Cylinders, heads, pre-composition, sectors and all the rest of it. Okay? I was basically reading it as a large hard drive. Now, on the hard drives themselves, a lot of times you will have actually the pre-composition, the landing zone, a lot of stuff actually written on the hard drive itself physically. For example, on this hard drive here, if you see this underneath caviar there, I'll bring it as close as I can, shouldn't go out of zoom. As you can see underneath here, we have cylinders, heads, sectors and size of hard drive. Okay, this software here automatically detects the size of the hard drive. In this case here, it's detecting an 8 GB hard drive. Okay, I'm just going to turn the hard drive over and just see what it is, because I don't think it's that size. Oh, it is that size. Oh, sorry. Wrong hard drive. Doesn't matter. That's one important actually piece of information there, funny enough. The fact that you see that written up there. If I put in a bigger hard drive like a 20 gig or a 10 gig or a 40 gig into a 486 computer, a lot of people say it won't run. It will run, and I have run it. This hard drive here is an example of a 40 gig hard drive from Seagate, which I've actually run successfully with this computer. And as you can see in the back, I've actually written it on the back of it. This is the very hard drive, the very same hard drive that I actually ran the Riven demo, which you'll also see on my page. Okay, that's why I wrote this on the back, just as I know which hard drive it is and not to format it and play about it. I have a hell of a lot of hard drives, so I've kind of got to be careful. Now, if I detect this hard drive automatic in the BIOS as well, it'll come up with the same result, although it's bigger. So you've got to use a special piece of software to install that. One of the software that I generally use is EZ Drive, EZ/Drive. Look it up, you'll find it on the Seagate website. Or if you just type a search into Yahoo, you'll find it as well. Okay, so anyway, this hard drive happens to be an 8 gig hard drive, so it's detecting it correctly. It's automatically detecting it, it's automatically detecting the heads, the cylinders, the sectors and so on. So no need to add the information. Most of the older hard drives will give you this information, will tell you what the sectors are, the cylinders are and so forth, if the BIOS itself doesn't have an automatic detection feature. This does, so we're on the pig's back. let's continue on. Just to let you know, I've actually installed a floppy disk in the drive. Just take it out while it's booting. It's a Windows 98 SE startup disk. Okay, I use the Windows 98 startup disk even to install Windows 95 because it's a better startup disk than the 95 one. If you don't have the 98 one to hand, that's fine. Use a Windows 95 one, but we're going to use a Windows 98 one simply because it'll allow us to do a few things with the machine. What we've also got in this machine is we've got the Creative Labs Sound Blaster AWE 32 sound card. We have got a 3Com Etherlink 3 based network card, which will allow this computer to actually go on the network and actually go on the broadband. Again, back in the day when I was fixing these machines, a lot of people said, oh, the 486, it'll never go on the internet, you can't use broadband with that. You can use broadband with a 486, providing you have an Ethernet cable. You can't really do it with the USB, even if it is a PCI based machine, which this isn't, it's a VLB based machine, because it just doesn't have enough power to really run it, and you're going to get terrible results. However, you run the 486 with a network card, and you're quite capable, isn't it? It's all going out of focus there again for some reason. I'll try to get it to focus back in there. Not enough information on the screen. Now, what you can see up here is you can see the three options. Pick the top one, because the other card I have in here is a SCSI, SCSI, Small Computer Systems Interface card, and that SCSI card is driving another hard drive, which be honest with you, I haven't got a clue what size it is. I think it's about 2 gigs. This error you're seeing here, PCI, is because there's no PCI card in this machine. It's a VLB based 486. These drivers it's installing here, this ASPI driver and the stuff all below here, is all basically belongs to the network card that's in here. And again, if you're doing a 486 SCSI machine, get a Adaptec, because Adaptec is like the Creative Labs of SCSI. It's always going to be supported. So that's why I have an Adaptec card plugged in here. The video card finally is an ATI Mach 32 VLB with 2 megs of RAM. It's a very good card, I find. I find it's an excellent card. You may want to use a different type of card, it's up to yourself. I use the 32, it serves my purposes fine. Now we're just waiting for this thing here to boot up. May take a few minutes. Well, that's what that says. It takes boom, 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 boom. Okay, now we're ready. What we're going to do first is we're going to run a program called FixDisk or FDisk. FDisk is designed for the original, when you got a hard drive in the shop, and you have to basically set the hard drive up to actually run within your computer. So you type in the command for FixDisk, which in this case is FDisk. It's not called fixed disk, as you can see up here, fixed disk, because it's too big. It doesn't meet with the parameters of the file name association that DOS has, which is 8.3. So in other words, you can have 8 characters plus a dot or a period if you're American, and then 3 extras at the end. For example, auto auto-exec.bat is one of the files that starts up a computer. It meets the demands of the 8.3, yet it's using them all up as if it were. So the first thing we want to do is have a look at the partition that's actually there already. We actually have one already installed, because again, before I started this up, I wanted to basically get one organised. Now, as you can see, DOS itself is only reading this hard drive as a 504 megabyte hard drive, okay, with a FAT16 on it. Okay, that is incorrect. Okay, the actual machine is reading it correctly, the actual physical hardware is reading it correctly, but the operating system is reading it incorrectly. So we're going to have to run the EZ software on this machine to get it to run right. As you can see, this is all totally messed up. It shouldn't be reading like that. Now I'm just going to go try and get the floppy disk for this, so give me a second, don't go anywhere. Luckily I had it on top, I didn't bury the damn thing. Voila! Now this is Maxter Max Blast 4. This will work with any hard drive. The hard drive that's in the machine at the moment is a Western Digital, but this will work with no problem at all. That's what I use. This is basically a dynamic drive overlay that allows your hard drive to actually read these larger file names. Now you're still going to need this disk, so don't put this away too far. So we'll stick it there for the crack. Now, put this disk in. and restart the computer. Do a warm restart if you can. Now, the difference between a warm restart and a cold restart. A warm restart is Control Alt and Delete. A cold restart is turning the machine off or hitting the reset button on the front of the machine. As you can see, it's not running the RAM test this time, which it ran the last time. This camera, by the way, I'm using is a very high-tech 3 CMOS camera from Panasonic. The camera that I was using in my other videos was the Sanyo camera. I'm just using this one because I have a tripod that lets me stick it in the bottom of it. The other one does have a tripod ability on it, but I think I said in another video I've actually sellotaped it together, so you know. Anyway, this is the software here that allows hard drives to be configured automatically. Rather than having to use fixed disk, you can configure the hard drives automatically. So a bigger hard drive will run on a 486, no problem at all. Some of the people that don't like this software don't like it because of, you know, information can be lost because because of the way it operates. If the software disappears, you lose your information, your data. A bit like you would with double space or drive space. I've used it on a lot of machines, never had any trouble with it. Just back up your information like you would in a normal hard drive. At this stage, these machines are legacy, these 486s, so you know the chances of you using it for everyday use are not going to be very high, and it'll definitely get you out of stuck. This will happen on some video card displays. Don't worry about it too much. Not the end of the world. There is a more fancy graphical user interface that's available there. You'll see it's lovely, got little buttons and got hard drives and all that sort of stuff. I don't know why this has happened. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Now we're going to continue on here. This is all, you know, self-explanatory. Format install drive. Now you see it's at the detecting. There's the Western Digital hard drive and the Samsung CD-ROM drive. We've also got a CD-ROM drive here. We've also got the SCSI hard drive plugged in here as well, but it won't see that because the actual card that runs it isn't detected yet. So let's format the install drive. We can do advanced options. Let's have a look at that. It'll give you some, like if you've got a machine that's in the database, you can do view drive jumpers and it'll give you a jumper setting for the hard drive that's installed. Okay. As well as you've got some other information here that allows you to, if the machine happens to get corrupted with this software, you can then recover it. It hasn't, so unless it does, I can't really demonstrate it to you. I'd like to, but it sort of only really works if what's the word for it? It only really works if you have a problem to show you how to fix it. These are the other little options that you have here which can be interesting. Do you see all the stuff that's here? The second one here can be interesting. If you have an amadon, as they say in Irish, you know, or an idiot who's going to be using your machine and playing with floppy disks, if they boot with a floppy disk, it's going to cause problems with this machine, because what's going to happen is you're going to be able to boot off the floppy disk, you mightn't see the C drive, and then you go playing around and trying to fix it. The Easy BIOS has to be installed first. Now, the thing with it is, we'll see it in a second, is when the Easy BIOS is installed on the actual hard drive, it'll give you the option to boot from a floppy disk anyway. So, you know, I mean, you can enable or disable the floppy boot protection. That's really up to yourself. It won't make any difference if you want to actually boot from a floppy. It'll still let you. You just have to wait till Easy BIOS tells you to boot from a floppy, not the actual, computer's BIOS. Okay. There's some other settings there you can play around with if you want. That's what that basically means there. Multi-boot transfer, 30-bit transfer, floppy boot time delay. Again, this is to do with the floppy disk. It's, you know, you can go into details here, but there's no real point. It's not going to mean much to most people out there who'll be watching this. Okay, let's set this up. Format the install drive. We want to erase drive 1, YES, and away we go. Search for system files. We're not installing Windows NT 4, we're going to install Windows 95. Check the system files, it doesn't have them. We're going to use the Windows 98 disk. System files are on the boot up disk. System files is looking for IOSYS, system SYS, config.sys if it exists, and then the autoexec bat file if that also exists. Okay, so searching for them. Big blooming thing there. Now, see this? This is great. Look, use FAT32 partitions or no use FAT16. use the FAT32 partitions, because as you can see there, it'll allow the hard drive to be, you know, utilised, managed, and actually will run faster using 32 partitions rather than 16. Unless you're going to be running DOS on the machine, which we're not, we're going to be using Windows 95 in this machine to sort of play about with it, go for the FAT32 partitions. If you go for FAT16 partitions, it'll basically partition the hard drive up into 2 GB sectors. So your 8 GB hard drive will be split up into A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In other words, it won't be an 8 gig complete hard drive, it'll be sections of 8. Now you can also use fixed disk to do this, but it's so annoying is the best word to use it, that you're better off to basically use FAT32 and install Windows 95. If you're going to make a DOS gaming machine and you can get your hands on a 540 megabyte or, you know, 1 point something gigabyte hard drive, go get that, because you're better off. You're better off to actually use a hard drive that is the right size for the job, rather than trying to put a jumbo hard drive in and then partition it all up. It's very messy. That's my opinion. You know, it's up to yourself if you want to go and do it. But you can do it here. It'll let you actually choose the sizes. We want FAT32. Use this partition size. Again, you can enter new partitions. You can make it smaller. But you'll have to make sure you do it in 16-bit, not 32-bit. Okay, we'll use the partition sizes to continue setup. It's now setting up that hard drive. It's copying the system file. There you are. It's the IOSYS. That's basically the computer talking to the hardware. And that's what that does. IO stands for input output, and SYS is a system file. MS-DOS SYS is the second file that runs. Command.com is a basic set of command lines that DOS will have, even if you haven't installed, you know, for example, DOS 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.22, it's a basic set. For example, instead of using delete tree, you'd use RD, remove directory, and stuff like that. I think I showed it in another video, so have a look at the AST video. I think I showed it in that. If you want to know anything else extra, you know, just let me know and I will get it out fit. We're going to exit this, but before we exit, it's going to ask me to anyway, but just take out the floppy disk, okay? There you are, see? But take it out, because again, what it'll do is it'll try to boot from that floppy disk. You don't want. Now this should basically bring us into a command prompt situation. There you are there now, it's initializing the Easy BIOS. Now, there you are. To install System OS from a floppy, insert the first floppy disk into drive A, type A to begin the OS installation, or type C to skip OS installation and boot to C. Now if we boot to the C drive, the DOS that's on this will allow us to actually see the full hard drive size, which is 8 gigs. So we can do that now if we want to, or we can go ahead and try and install the operating system. We're going to go for option A. So your Windows 98 startup disk, which you've already created. Now, if you want to create this, by the way, if you have a friend or anybody like that that has Windows 98 in their machine, just go into My Computer, go into the floppy drive, right-click on it, and it'll give you an option there to format. The format command, then you can basically ask it to make a startup disk from in there. I might be able to show you Windows 95 when it boots up how to do it as well. It's the same idea. Let's go with that. Keys installed. Disks installed, sorry. Just testing, see if you're still awake. CD-ROM support. The CPU that's inside this machine is a 486 DX2. DX stood for the idea that it was supposed to be a double speed CPU. What it does, it uses a clock doubling technology. And the doubling technology basically allows the 33 MHz frontside bus to be translated into a 66 MHz internal bus on the processor. This is the actual CPU itself, not the one from the PC, because if it was, the machine wouldn't be running in the background. Okay, so that's the actual processor. And it's just dropped and hit the floor. Don't worry, it's already broken anyway. You can't break something that's already broken. As you can see, there's a few bent pins on that there. Usually you can straighten them up, no problem, but there is one pin on it that's folded over in half, so that ain't going to be repaired. My cat decided to chew it, so there you are, you know. You must like the taste of gold, you know. Anyway, that's the processor. And just something else I have here in my hand while we're waiting here. This here is a chip removal tool. Can be handy for these older machines if you want to be basically taking chips out, putting chips in, stuff like that. It's a chip removal tool. It's also very good for scratching things, you know. You know, looks like a, you know, or a very fine comb maybe, you know. I won't say anything else. Okay, so here we are, operating system ready to go. Let's go to the D drive. The CD is already in the drive. dir/p, that basically gives you a list of what's on the hard drive. That's the RAM drive, and we don't want that, so we try E drive. dir/p, not dirt, that's deposit interest retention tax, we all know about that if we're Irish. Setup. Right, now actually one thing I always do, this is one thing I always do, I recommend this, instead of setting up off the CD, what I do is, and I'll show you now, is copy everything to the hard drive, and I'll tell you why. So first thing to do is to make a directory, keep everything in caps lock. Make a directory called Win95, okay? Go into the directory, CD is into the directory, and then copy, so copy star dot star e colon backslash win95 backslash star dot star. Well, I made an ass of that. Copy e colon backslash win95 backslash star dot star to c colon backslash win95 backslash star dot star. Now, the reason why I write all of that is sometimes what happens in some operating systems is if I don't put the star dot star at the end here, it'll copy everything over from that into that, but it'll make it one giant file. And so with that like that, it'll override everything. It'll just go for press enter, away it goes. Now, the reason why I recommend you do this, and I just remembered there a moment ago, is if you install from the hard drive, number one, it'll let you test your ancient hard drive at this stage. It would be ancient because it's going to be, you know, going around the hard drive and the head's going to be going nuts in it. But what it'll also allow you to do is, if you have another hard drive, which we do here, SCSI hard drive, and we may be able to install the Windows 95 onto that, but never minding that, if you're installing on the actual main hard drive, the C drive as if it were, the main, you know, 8 gig